Welcome back to Coins Numismatic Series. Today, we're exploring something that excites collectors across the globe, the top 5 super rare wheat pennies 1-cent coins. These humble 1-cent pieces carry stories of American history, artistry, and rarity that make them so much more than just copper discs. And the best part? Some of them could be worth far beyond their face value. So, let's begin our countdown, and get ready, because you might be surprised to learn that one of these coins could already be in your collection. 1920 wheat penny 1-cent coin without mint mark and fine condition. The 1920 wheat penny without a mint mark is a remarkable coin that hails from a period when the United States was transitioning after World War I. At that time, the American economy was entering the roaring 20s, industry was booming, and coins like the wheat penny were being minted in large numbers to fuel commerce. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of this penny features the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design introduced in 1909 to commemorate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. On the reverse, the coin displays 2 stylized wheat stalks encircling the words, 1 cent, and, United States of America, along with the motto, E pluribus unum. The 1920 issue was struck in Philadelphia, hence the absence of a mint mark, and it had a significant mintage of over 310 million pieces. Despite this large production, finding a 1920 wheat penny in fine condition after more than a century is still exciting because many were lost to circulation, damaged, or corroded. In terms of market value, a typical fine condition 1920 penny might sell for just a few dollars, but higher grade specimens can climb into the hundreds. Errors add another layer of interest. Collectors look out for die cracks, double dies, or repunched dates, all of which increase demand. The 1920 penny appeals strongly to collectors who aim to complete Lincoln Wheat Cent series albums, as it bridges the earlier teens-era cents and the later Depression-era issues. What makes this coin especially engaging is its context. Imagine how many hands it passed through during the flapper era, during Prohibition, or at the early stages of the automobile boom. Each coin tells a story, and the 1920 wheat penny without a mint mark is a beautiful piece of that history. 1936 wheat penny 1-cent coin without mint mark and fine condition. Moving ahead in time, the 1936 wheat penny takes us into the midst of the Great Depression. America was still struggling economically, but coin collecting was gaining popularity, partly thanks to the penny boards that became a hobby for countless children and families. The 1936 penny, like the earlier issues, carries Lincoln on the obverse and the wheat ears on the reverse, with the same inscriptions that had become a familiar part of American coinage. The Philadelphia Mint produced an astonishing mintage of over 309 million coins that year. At first glance, this suggests commonality, but collectors value 1936 pennies for the variety of errors and minting anomalies they present. In particular, the 1936 double die obverse variety is one of the most sought-after errors of the wheat cent series. In fine condition without such errors, the coin may only fetch a modest sum, but with doubling, values soar into the thousands. Even without mint errors, the 1936 penny holds a place of charm because of the era it represents. Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal programs, the build-up to World War II, and a time when every cent truly counted for families scraping by. Collectors today see the 1936 penny as a bridge between scarcity and abundance in the series. Market trends show steady appreciation, especially for higher grades, as completing a set requires filling in these Depression-era years. The absence of a mint mark confirms its Philadelphia origin, and the coin in fine condition may have light wear on Lincoln's cheek and jawline, as well as slight fading on the wheat stalks, but it retains enough detail to satisfy collectors. This coin represents resilience, the endurance of everyday Americans, and the modest copper coin that circulated in millions of pockets while the nation prepared for dramatic changes ahead. 1946 wheat penny 1-cent coin without mint mark and fine condition. Now, let's step into the post-war period with the 1946 wheat penny. The year 1946 is notable because it was the first full year after the conclusion of World War II, a time when America was transitioning back to peacetime production. Just 3 years earlier, in 1943, the U.S. Mint had experimented with steel cents to conserve copper for the war effort. By 1946, copper had returned, but the wartime legacy still lingered. The 1946 penny without a mint mark was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, with a mintage of over 991 million coins, nearly a billion pieces. That makes it one of the most common issues of the wheat penny series. However, rarity doesn't always come from mintage alone, it also comes from survival in collectible condition. In fine condition, a 1946 penny might look worn but still recognizable, with Lincoln's features visible and the wheat ears intact but softened. Collectors value this coin for its symbolic importance, representing the optimism and growth of the post-war era. Errors are of special interest here, as certain die breaks and doubling varieties are known. For example, the 1946 S/D mint mark error from San Francisco is famous, though Philadelphia pieces without a mint mark don't display that particular anomaly. Market value for a fine condition 1946 penny is modest, but pristine mint state examples with lustrous copper surfaces can bring significant premiums. Collectors often include the 1946 penny in historical displays because of its connection to veterans returning home, the baby boom beginning, and the onset of America's economic expansion. In a way, this coin represents new beginnings. It circulated in a nation eager to rebuild, to move past wartime austerity, and to embrace prosperity. The design features and inscriptions remained constant, with, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date on the obverse, anchoring it in the enduring series created by Brenner decades earlier. The 1946 wheat penny might not be the rarest by numbers, but it's rare in its storytelling value, and collectors cherish it for that reason. 1952 wheat penny 1-cent coin with mint mark D and fine condition. Next, we arrive at the 1952 wheat penny with the Denver mint mark. By this time, the Lincoln wheat cent series was a well-established part of American life, and the U.S. Mint was producing billions of coins to meet the needs of a growing post-war economy. The Denver Mint struck over 746 million wheat pennies in 1952, and the little D mint mark beneath the date signifies its origin. In fine condition, the coin displays moderate wear but retains enough detail for collectors to appreciate. Historically, 1952 was a time of change in America. As the Korean War raged overseas, Dwight D. Eisenhower was elected president, and the nation was entering a new era of Cold War tensions. Every cent produced that year was part of the fabric of daily life for Americans buying bread, newspapers, and bus fare. Design-wise, the coin carried the familiar features. Lincoln on the obverse, wheat stalks on the reverse, inscriptions of E pluribus unum, United States of America, and 1 cent. What makes the 1952 D special for collectors is the range of repunched mint marks and double dies known for this issue. Some examples display clear doubling on the date or the mint mark, making them valuable finds. In terms of market value, a fine condition 1952 D might be worth only a few cents above face value, but uncirculated examples can range from a few dollars to significant sums for high-grade coins with rare errors. Collectors particularly enjoy Denver issues because of the distinct mint mark and the hunt for varieties. The 1952 D penny embodies the optimism and challenges of its era, an America growing in strength, grappling with global responsibilities, and experiencing the everyday realities of a booming post-war population. For numismatists, it's not just a copper coin. It's a piece of the narrative of the 1950s, a tangible link to the days when coins were integral to commerce and culture alike. 1953 wheat penny 1-cent coin without mint mark and fine condition. Finally, we turn to the 1953 wheat penny without a mint mark, struck at the Philadelphia Mint. With a mintage of over 256 million coins, it might not sound rare, but in numismatics, rarity often comes from condition, errors, and collector demand. The 1953 penny represents the height of the post-war boom, a time of suburban expansion, television's rise in American homes, and the continuing Cold War backdrop. This coin's obverse features Abraham Lincoln's portrait, with "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" to the side, and the date below. The reverse shows the classic wheat ears framing 1 cent and United States of America, with E pluribus unum above. In fine condition, the coin shows wear but still conveys its design clearly. Market value for a circulated example may only be a few cents, but collectors hunt for varieties that include double dies or off-center strikes, which can be worth much more. The 1953 penny, like others of its era, also has collector interest tied to its place in completing wheat cent albums. Completing a full run of these cents requires every year and mint mark, making the 1953 Philadelphia issue essential. While not a headline rarity, it represents a classic mid-century piece of Americana, and collectors prize it for what it symbolizes: the stability of the U.S. Mint's production, the continuity of Brenner's design, and the nostalgia of an era when pennies could still buy a piece of candy or contribute meaningfully to daily transactions. For today's numismatists, holding a 1953 wheat penny is like holding a snapshot of the American 1950s, a copper relic from a time of optimism, growth, and cultural shifts that continue to define modern America. And there you have it, the top 5 super rare wheat pennies 1-cent coins that capture not just numismatic beauty but also the heartbeat of American history. From the 1920 penny of the Roaring Twenties to the Depression-era 1936, the post-war 1946, the Denver-minted 1952, and the classic 1953, each coin carries its own unique story. Collectors cherish these not only for their rarity but for the lives they touched and the moments in history they represent. So, check your collections, your piggy banks, or even that old coffee can of change. You never know when you might discover one of these treasures. Stay tuned for more deep dives into numismatic history, and until next time, happy collecting.